Grifters, gloomers, doomers, con artists, black pillars. Who am I talking about? Far left Democrats, communists, socialists? No, ironically enough, the exact opposite. People who use the America First agenda, built giant platforms online, mostly, and then turned heel as soon as there was an opportunity to do so, to gain more followers and more clicks and to just gain more attention. I've waited for a long time to try to talk about this, but now it's finally here. There are some awful people that weaseled into and let's just call it the America First movement. Just weaseled onto it, glommed onto the Trump agenda, glommed onto America First, the Republican Party, the right, the voice of the people to do it, and now the rats are all being exposed. But it's a good thing they're being exposed now, so we can figure out who they are, and also before the midterms happen. We'll talk about all that. It's so depressing. They're worse than people who hate this country because they used an opportunity to weasel in, and there have been a ton of them. Some of the names you'll be familiar with, and I'll play some clips for you, but now they're all getting exposed. So, like I said, it's a good time they're getting exposed now. But first, an update on the SAVE Act, Save America Act, a big hurdle. They're debating it on the Senate floor. Will it pass? No. They don't have the votes, but still a positive thing here because at least they're talking about it and more attention is getting thrown its way and more American people are being aware of it. So we'll talk about that as well. But first, thanks for finding me with Wicked Radio, the live stream, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, X and YouTube and on Facebook, and then the replay there. But more importantly, the audio podcast gets posted right after we live stream every single day, your favorite podcast platforms. Now let's give the update here. It passed a major hurdle in the Senate. Big headlines yesterday. The Save America Act. We're going to secure our elections. Voter ID. Stop the nonsense with mail-in ballots. The corrupt mail-in ballots. Keep the good ones for military and people who are overseas who are citizens, right? Do we have the votes? Let's go to John Thune. What a weasel.
That means 60 votes. We don't have 60 votes. Why go through this? Is this basically just a show?
Well, I mean, we don't know that we don't have 60 votes yet. You're making an assumption.
Multiple members of your conference say that there aren't even 51 votes.
Yeah, well, and you're making an assumption that at the end of this debate that none of the Democrats will be won over. And I'm not saying that I appreciate your skepticism, but I think it's an important debate to have because it is an issue that is at the very core of elections in this country.
This guy's the Senate Majority Leader. Don't forget, we tend to forget this sometimes. The Republicans have the majority in the House and the Senate. In Congress, they can't get this done to secure American elections. This guy's the leader. What an absolute waste of space this guy is. But, okay, let's give him credit. They got it to the Senate floor to talk about it and to hash it out and to talk. Let me ask you something. Why do you even need to talk about it? They know it is. Every single poll, there have been hundreds of them from everybody. Everybody from Fox News to CNN to, pick any, Gallup, any one of them, AP. It's over 80% popularity. Some show 90% among all demographics and all parties. Show voter ID. Show an identification to vote. Secure our elections. That's all. You need to be a citizen to register, and then you need to show ID to actually vote. That you don't even need to talk about it. You just need to find out who the rats in the Senate are who don't want to pass it. Well, Ted was there. Let's always go to Ted Cruz first because he always makes the best points on the Senate floor.
The solution is usually the right one. The simplest solution is very clear. The Democrats in this body want illegals to vote for. They want power enough that they are more than happy to undermine democracy to try to seize power.
I mean, that's all you need right there is a 10 to 12 second clip of Ted Cruz saying that. It's what everybody knows. I've said it a million times. You've said it a million times. Your favorite people online have said it a million times. President Trump has said it a million times. The only reason why you would oppose voter ID is to cheat elections. It is that simple, and they're trying to complicate it. It's not complicated whatsoever. But there's still the debate on the other side, and they think it's anti-American. Here's that term again. Remember I was telling you to watch out for this term? Anybody that throws this out there now is full of crap. It'll undermine, it'll destroy democracy. Here's Dickie Blumenthal. He was on the Democrat side speaking out against it. Let's not forget Richard Blumenthal lied about serving in Vietnam. It's the same guy who's in office. That wasn't enough to kick him out.
Which is to say no to a bill that so fundamentally and far-reachingly would undermine, in fact, destroy our democracy. It may sound
There it is. It'll destroy democracy. There's the buzzword term every single time. But that wasn't it. You know, there are some Democrats making sense about this who actually understand it and are telling the truth. Unbelievably, let's go to Chucky Schumer making sense.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card.
Oops, my bad. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Hold on. That was Chuck Schumer from 1996 when he was actually in favor of voter ID. Sorry, I wanted to play a little game there, but it goes to show you what changed. What? How come Chucky Schumer, who's now standing outside every single day out of the on the steps of Congress, who's actually has a sign up there that crosses out Save America Act, and he writes on there, or his team wrote on there, Jim Crow 2.0. What changed? What changed from 1996 to right now? You know what changed. Nobody has to explain it to you. Democrat policies became so unpopular with American culture and hardworking Americans that they could not win elections fairly. That's what changed. So they had to import as many illegals and illegal voting as they possibly could. That's what changed. It's not complicated. It's never been simpler, but they're just trying to, they know they're losing this argument. They know they are. And yet still, one of the most popular pieces of legislation to ever come down the pike, I'll put it conservatively at 80%. It's really closer to 90% of the country approving this thing. And still, these useless, lazy Republicans can't get it done. It's absolutely stunning. It's absolutely amazing. But here we are. But they're talking it out, so more attention. So it's top 3 in the headlines now. So more people are aware of it. Maybe people who are just too busy, hardworking, trying to take care of their families, weren't aware of what the SAVE Act is. Maybe more are now, so they'll call their senators and put the pressure on. If they don't get this done, it's just pathetic. Throw them all out. Primary every single politician, every single one of them that doesn't pass this thing, because it's your last shot. That's all it is. And I think it will eventually. I don't know when. It's got too much popularity, too much momentum not to pass eventually. The timing is the issue here. When? Before the midterms? Make them fair elections? Maybe. I don't know. I was thinking this last night about this, though, and I was watching some of this debate. And I said, when national voter ID law passes in some form and securing our elections, watch out for the next major scam to happen in our country. A major, major voter ID scam will happen. That'll be the next thing, as the scam artists try to go back to their wicked ways. I don't know. I think that's where it's going, but keep the pressure on, become aware of it, but don't get too frustrated, because it is actually, I know it's frustrating, but it is actually a positive step. They're talking about this. They still aren't forcing Democrats to do a real filibuster where they have to talk for 24, 48 hours, whatever it is. They still aren't nuking the filibuster, but at least they're talking about it, but become more aware of it. What you can do, what you and I can do, though, is talk to normal people and make them aware of why this is so important. That's what you can do. Hopefully, anyway. All right, let's get to the main focus of today's live stream. I waited for this because they've been popping up, and it's gotten really bad over the past couple of months. But especially when the conflict, I'll call it a conflict, when the strike against Iran happened, and they're blaming Israel for all of it. These are the grifters, the con artists, the gloomers, the doomers online, mostly podcasters, who used the America First movement to gain massive popularity, to build their platforms, to get more clicks, to more online views, and who now, the first chance they could, and they're using the Iran conflict, the Iran strikes, to turn heel, to rat out the America First movement for, you guessed it, more clicks. And I hate this for so many different reasons, because it's so disingenuous, because it's causing this divide, it's corrupt, and they're fooling a lot of people, which is a real shame. And it's all being funded or powered or inspired by somebody that's trying to cause a divide in this country. Right before the midterms. Isn't that amazing? Who am I talking about? Online people like, and this is the only time I'll ever mention her or mention a clip, Candace Owens, people who have been in the administration, people like that. Even Tucker Carlson, for different reasons, but he's done the same thing. You've got other online so-called podcasters. And I hate it, too, because they're sullying, they're dirtying the podcast name. Here we have this beautiful online platform where we have free media. It's like, compared to the great work that Nick Shirley is doing right now, exposing fraud in Minnesota and California. He's doing great work online. And then you have these grifters, and I mean it, just absolute grifters who are doing everything they can to just turn heel and say that MAGA's dead. Well, I waited for this moment to try to expose some of them for you and to give you a little lesson, a little takeaway on how to watch out for which ones are full of crap and which ones aren't. This is the moment I was waiting for. This is one of those golden rules I was talking about. I've talked about it for like a couple of years now. When CNN releases one of their own internal polls that happens to be positive for America First, MAGA, or President Trump, you can kind of take it for real because it pains them. It literally pains them to release anything that's positive for the America First movement. But when it's their own poll and they get results they didn't expect or want, they still have to release it because it's their own poll. You know what I mean? They kind of have to. Believe me when I tell you, when they released this yesterday, that we'll call it MAGA or America First Americans, patriotic Americans, are very much in favor of the administration's strikes against Iran. CNN didn't want to release this, but because it's their own poll, they had to. Let's start with this. When these grifters and these online doomers and black pillars and these podcasters who are just lying to you tell you that MAGA's dead, remember this. Oh, MAGA is very much alive.
Okay, MAGA GOP on the U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. Nearly 9 in 10, 89% approve of the U.S. military action in Iran. That is the MAGA GOP base. Just 9% disapprove of it. This is tremendously popular among the Republican base. And, of course, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, overseeing the effort. It seems to me that a lot of people are taking that into account, including President Donald Trump, who has been smiling an awful lot at Marco Rubio lately.
All right. Now, that's the one I was waiting for because, like I said, CNN doesn't want to release the good news for America because they don't want to do it, but they have to because when it's their own poll, okay? Now, juxtapose this with people like this. They're not all podcasters, although she probably will have one pretty soon here. Carrie Prejean. She just got exited. She just got booted from the administration on an advisor role. What was she? I had to look this up. I forgot what her title was. She was on the Religious Liberty Commission. So she got booted apparently because she was hijacking meetings and hearings for her own agenda. She hates Israel. She hates Jews. She hates anybody that's not like super far-right Christian. All right, that's her own opinion. That's fine. But she was disingenuous about it. What's her reaction? I think Piers Morgan, he's another one. He was talking to her about this. This is the kind of grifter I'm talking about. And then we'll get to the real one.
No, I do not believe that one bit. I talk to MAGA people all day long, every day. And the everyday average American is absolutely against this war. And they know that the only reason why we are even in Iran right now is because of Israel. We see Benjamin Netanyahu coming to our country more than any other foreign government, any other foreign nation. He's been here almost 8 times. This is embarrassing. We are the United States of America. Why are we allowing a foreign country to occupy our government? And now.
What a moron. Now, do you think, you could debate her, and I wish Piers Morgan had actually done this. You could say, well, it's our main ally in the Middle East strategically. It'd be pretty important to, keep in contact with him. She doesn't want to hear that. She's one of the two things. She's one of the people champing up and down and saying that MAGA's dead, which we just saw it's not. Talk to anybody. Ask yourself, do you think it's dead? Have you changed your opinion on this? And she's also saying everything's Israel's fault. She's one of the, and they all have a common denominator. Everything's Israel's fault. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't all have the ability to criticize President Trump or Israel or anybody else. You got to be able to do that. You got to hold them accountable, right? I do it. You do it too. Not everything. Nobody thinks anything with this is perfect. But here's the telltale sign to watch out for. The people like her who were pro-MAGA, America first, this and that, all of a sudden when they turn and they say two things, it's all Israel's fault, all of our problems, and they apply it to everything, and MAGA's dead, and President Trump has lost complete support, and she actually has the gall to come out there and say, I talk to MAGA people, I've talked to all of them every single day. Do you really think she has? Do you really think so? Compare that to the people in your life, the true patriotic Americans you actually know and talk to. Do they reflect what she's saying? Probably not. So watch out for those telltale signs that people that were all of a sudden pro-America first and MAGA, and then all of a sudden the Iran conflict happened, the Iran strikes happened, then all of a sudden they've turned heel and they've run and the rats are leaving the ship. That's your first sign. But then you have actual lunatics like Candace Owen. This is the only time I'll ever mention her name or play a clip. Now, this is a person, a perfect example. This is a shining example of what a grifter is to watch out for. Because somebody that built their platform on America First, a massive platform, built it up, got massive clicks, massive views, made a name for herself, right? Befriended people very, very close, namely one of them being Charlie Kirk, into that movement, befriended them. Then all of a sudden this happens, and maybe it's because she's crazy or maybe she's just smart and this is her only way to stay relevant in her own little online world. And it's completely ratted out everything. To the extent of, I don't know if you've heard, this is the why we'll never mention her name or play a clip from her again, has actually gone after Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, saying that she was responsible for him getting murdered. I mean, this is a lunatic, or at the very least, just an absolute scam artist. Here's a little example of her.
Of basically everything going on in America right now. The main source of our problem is obviously that Donald Trump is treacherous. He is engaged in treachery with his Zionist cabal. We are currently engaged in a war in the Middle East that we cannot win, to be clear.
Oh, that's another one. That's another telltale sign. Now, all the real military experts, pick anyone that really know it and know military strategy and are talking about it. They're saying Iran has nothing left, just absolute nothing. But the doomers and the gloomers and the grifters, they're all saying this is a war we can't win. They're all saying the same thing. They say three things: MAGA's dead, this is a war we can't win, and Israel is the source of all our problems. Now, you can have your opinion or not, but I'm telling you the telltale signs of all of the people who are trying to scam you. And like I said, it pains me because we have this great online platform, like Elon Musk says, we're the media now. We have all this information, and this is what they do with it. Grifters, beware the grifters. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to honestly, objectively criticize things you don't believe in, but that's not what these people are doing. That's not what they're doing at all. You got the case where you've got a absolute anti-Semite like this Carrie Prejean, who just hates Jewish people and now is saying MAGA's dead because of it, because she lost her job in the administration. A lunatic like Candace Owens. But then you got somebody like Tucker Carlson, for different reasons, I think, has gone off the deep end as well. Megyn Kelly's another one like this. Now, these people came from the journalist world, so they have deep sources, and they talk to people in the middle. They talk to people who are in, actual intelligence agencies in our country and others all the time, who I think actually got fooled. That's a different kind of story. I think they actually got fooled, and there was a big meeting, you might remember, with President Trump and Tucker, and I think Trump was telling him, because he knew Tucker was talking to foreign sources in Iran specifically, I think he was telling them, we'll never go after Iran, so that Tucker would feed them information. And then Tucker got burned, and now he's just off the rails. That's a different case. But in all of those cases, all of the people you thought you could always trust in your favorite podcasters, look for those telltale signs of which are the rats and which are the gloomers and the doomers and the con artists, because there's a lot of them. And it's a real shame. Doesn't mean you shouldn't criticize, objectively criticize, and hold these people accountable in elected positions. But that's not them. They're absolute con artists. So those are the signs to watch out for. And the SAVE Act, what can you do? I know it's frustrating. I know it's disgusting. It hasn't passed already. Here's what you and I can do. Talk to normal people who aren't aware about it. Tell them why it's so important to pass that thing. Maybe they'll put the pressure on these useless senators to get it done. Who knows? We'll see. It's only Wednesday. Make it a wicked awesome one. I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for finding the podcast and live stream on X and YouTube and on Facebook, and then the audio version, which is where most of you find me a little bit later on. Always posted after we live stream. Your favorite podcast platforms. Make it a wicked awesome Wednesday. Hang in there. It's going to get better. I'll talk to you tomorrow.